In the year 3157, after centuries of interstellar exploration and first contacts, humanity finally joined the Galactic Council of Sentient Species. Among the many initiatives proposed during this historic integration was an ambitious project, the Stellar Institute of Advanced Studies. This wasn't just another space station or orbital academy. It was humanity's first contribution to galactic education, and it would change everything. The institute took shape in the neutral space between the Orion and Carina arms of the Milky Way, constructed within a massive rotating structure that could support multiple gravity zones and atmospheric conditions. The station's design was revolutionary, incorporating technology from over 30 different species to create fully adaptable learning environments. Dr. Jake Martinez, the project's lead architect, had spent decades studying xenoarchitecture. Her breakthrough came when she realized that traditional educational spaces were inherently biased toward their builders' biology. "We needed to create something new," she wrote in her memoirs, "a place that could transform itself to meet the needs of any student, regardless of their biological makeup." The Institute's heart was the adaptation core, a marvel of engineering that could reconfigure itself in real time. Classroom walls could shift from solid matter to energy fields, atmospheric composition could change instantly, and gravity could be manipulated with unprecedented precision. This allowed beings from gas giants to study alongside creatures from high-gravity worlds, each in their own comfortable environment while still interacting meaningfully with others. The curriculum was equally revolutionary. Traditional subjects were taught through what became known as multi-perspective integration. A physics class might examine the same phenomenon through the sensory experiences of a dozen different species. Mathematics incorporated numerical systems from base 2 to base 16, and even nonlinear time-based calculations used by some of the more exotic species. In 3162, the Institute welcomed its first class of 1,000 students from 100 different species. The admission process was brutally fair, based solely on potential and ability to contribute to the interstellar academic community. The Institute's motto, "Through different eyes, one universe," became a symbol of hope for true interspecies understanding. When Jake Martinez stepped onto the transport pad at the Institute's arrival terminal, he knew he was in for something different. The terminal itself was a testament to diversity. Some beings materialized through conventional matter transport, others emerged from energy streams, and a few seemed to coalesce from what appeared to be pure thought. Jake was a third-generation colonist from New Terra, a heavy-gravity world that had shaped his ancestors into what the galactic community classified as Deathworlders. His muscular frame and dense bone structure, necessary for survival on New Terra, made him exceptionally powerful in standard gravity environments. The Institute had provided him with a mandatory gravity compensator, but it felt restrictive, like trying to swim through honey. His first weeks were a blur of adaptation and discovery. His roommate was a crystalline from the Rigel system, a being of living crystal who communicated through light patterns and vibrations. They developed a simple system of communication. Jake would speak, and the crystalline, who chose the name Prism, would respond with pulses of colored light that Jake's neural translator could interpret. The Institute's automated systems helped smooth the transition. Jake's desk could transform from solid matter to an energy field, allowing him to share workspace with gaseous classmates. The cafeteria provided perfectly calibrated nutrition for every species, from plasma consumers to photosynthesizers. Even the recreation areas could adjust their physical properties to accommodate different forms of play and exercise. But it was in physical adaptation class where things got interesting. The class was designed to help students understand and appreciate different species' physical capabilities, with practical exercises in various gravity and atmospheric conditions. Jake had been dreading this. He knew his Deathworlder strength could be intimidating to others. It happened during a routine exercise in cooperative movement. The class was practicing emergency evacuation procedures in various gravitational conditions when the unthinkable occurred. Jake's gravity compensator malfunctioned. In an instant, his full Deathworlder strength was unleashed. The practice obstacle course, designed to challenge even the most agile species, became almost trivial. Jake cleared a 3-meter barrier in a single bound, his muscles operating at their natural capacity. The force of his landing created small vibrations through the deck plates, sending ripples of fear through his classmates. The Gaseous Nebulons contracted into tight, defensive spheres. The energy-based Luminars dimmed their natural glow to near-invisibility. Even the usually stoic Silicon Collective shifted their crystalline forms into defensive configurations. The fear in the room was palpable, and Jake felt his heart sink. Professor XINRA, a multiphasic being capable of existing in several states of matter simultaneously, quickly took control of the situation. "Class!" Their voice resonated through various mediums simultaneously. "What we're witnessing is a perfect teaching moment. Every species has evolved different survival strategies. What appears as strength to some might be seen as a threat to others, but understanding is the bridge between fear and acceptance." But the damage was done. Jake could see the way his classmates recoiled from his presence, how they calculated safe distances and escape routes. He had become what every Deathworlder dreaded, a source of fear rather than a fellow student. The days following the incident were difficult. Jake considered requesting a transfer back to New Terra, but Professor XINRA had a different idea. They organized a special session of physical adaptation class, this time focusing on survival specializations. One by one, each species demonstrated their unique physical capabilities. The Nebulons showed how they could disperse their consciousness across vast spaces, making them virtually indestructible. The Luminars demonstrated their ability to travel through solid matter by converting their bodies to pure energy. The Silicon Collective revealed how they could process information at speeds that made Jake's neural responses seem glacial by comparison. Then it was Jake's turn. Instead of demonstrating his strength, he chose to show something else: control. With careful precision, he used his Deathworlder capabilities to assist his classmates. He helped a young Nebulon maintain form in higher gravity, spotted for a Luminar practicing physical manifestation, and provided a stable anchor point for the Silicon Collective's crystalline expansions. "Strength isn't just about power," he explained, his movements deliberately slow and controlled. "It's about precision, about knowing exactly how much force to use and when to use it. On New Terra, using too much strength is just as dangerous as using too little." The turning point came during the Institute's annual emergency response exercise. The scenario involved evacuating different species from a simulated station breach. Each species faced unique challenges. The Nebulons struggled with rapid pressure changes. The Luminars had difficulty maintaining physical form under stress, and the Silicon Collective risked structural damage from sudden temperature variations. Jake's Deathworlder capabilities, once a source of fear, became an invaluable asset. His strength allowed him to secure emergency barriers that would have required mechanical assistance. His enhanced reflexes helped him coordinate evacuation timing with split-second precision. Most importantly, his careful control meant he could assist more fragile species without risking harm. The experience transformed the class's dynamic. Fear gave way to curiosity, then to appreciation. Students began asking Jake about human training techniques, about how he maintained such precise control, about what it was like to grow up on a heavy-gravity world. In turn, Jake learned about the unique challenges and advantages of other species' physical forms. The Institute's administration took notice. They implemented new programs that celebrated physical diversity rather than trying to normalize it. Gravity compensators became optional in designated areas, allowing students to experience different physical capabilities in safe, controlled environments. The term Deathworlder began to lose its fearful connotations, becoming instead a simple descriptor of evolutionary origin. By year's end, the physical adaptation class had the highest satisfaction rating in the Institute's history. Students from all species reported increased confidence in their abilities and better understanding of their classmates' physical nature. Jake's final project, A Guide to Interspecies Physical Cooperation, became required reading for future classes. As he prepared for his second year at the Institute, Jake reflected on how far they'd all come. The fear that had once filled the gymnasium had transformed into something else. Respect, understanding, and even admiration. Different species no longer saw each other's physical capabilities as threats or weaknesses, but as parts of a greater whole. The Stellar Institute had achieved something remarkable. It had turned diversity from a challenge into a strength, from a source of fear into a catalyst for growth. In doing so, it had taken one small step closer to its founding vision, a future where different species could learn not just to coexist, but to thrive together.